Hi everybody, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful Driftwood Dream Catcher Mobile. It's great on a wall, even hanging in a window, on a porch, anywhere it looks gorgeous. And like so many of my crafts, I got my inspiration from this piece of driftwood. It looked like the coat color of pinto horses, but of course you're not going to find that piece, but even a piece of bark or some other piece of driftwood looks gorgeous. All you're going to need are these things, and let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to paint some pieces of driftwood. Now you can use paint or you can use marker. I found that the marker was easier to use, but the paint had a nicer finish. And to make sure that your lines are straight, there's a little tip of using a little bit of painter's tape, and then you'll get relatively crisp lines. Now, I just started using random patterns and colors, but depending on your decor, you can choose the colors that you want to use for painting your sticks. And of course, if you don't have driftwood, any sticks will do. Just make sure that they have the bark taken off and they're cleaned up so that you're able to paint them. Now, I like to use a drill for the next part because we're going to put holes in our pieces of driftwood. But if you don't have a drill, you can always use craft rope and just glue it to the top, the craft rope to the top of the driftwood piece. Wrap it several times around so that it's also glued, and then take the other end of that rope and then attach it to the back of that larger driftwood piece. And because I'm drilling and I want to use some craft wire to attach it, I also have to drill holes in my other piece of driftwood. So I measured it out to make sure that my holes were even. And then I also use the craft wire because that makes it easier to manipulate. So I probably cut about 2 foot long piece because I'm going to wrap and wrap and wrap this wire several times. So I got a long piece, I clipped it off, and then basically just strung it through the piece of driftwood. And then I only left 2 inches and then twisted it around so that it was nice and tight. Now, when you're twisting it like this, you don't have to knot it, you don't have to do anything because it really holds securely. But I did want to cover up the wire, so what I did is I took some beads and then added the beads so that they would just cover the wire that I twisted around. So it was a nice accent piece as well. Now, when you're finished adding beads, if you want to, then we're going to string it through the holes in that back piece of driftwood. Now, make sure that you're measuring the wire when you're hanging it so that it's pretty much the same as all the other ones. You can see I started 2 already. And all you're going to do is just keep wrapping that wire around through the hole. You're looping it back and bringing it through. Depending on how thick you want that wire to look, I chose blue just because there was some blue in my pieces. But if you want to do it several times, just make sure you have long enough wire and then just simply run the wire through the back. And you don't even have to knot it. Again, it just stays secure. So I clipped it off there. Just go ahead and add on all the rest of your driftwood sticks, and you can see that the distance of my wire is about the same for each piece. I tried to keep that consistent. And because we've done so much already, let's take a calming nature break. Even though you can make your own dream catchers, I did get these at the craft store because I wanted to use some of the feathers. So I got 2 and I basically cut the feathers off of one of them and then added some of the beads. So I took the ones that I had cut off, the feathers, and I had glued them to the back of the driftwood piece. Simply just gluing them on like that was very easy, and of course I added those brown beads because it gave it that nice accent. And at the top of my pinto driftwood piece, I drilled a small hole and I attached the wire the same way, twisting it and then putting the beads on to hide that twisted wire. And then I took that wire and attached it to the dream catcher. And the final product looks amazing. So go ahead and make your own. You'll really love it. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And we have tons of other natural crafts and recipes videos on our channel. So make sure you subscribe and ring that bell because then you'll be the first to get notifications of new videos as soon as they come out. So whether it's crafts or cooking, keep it natural.